At this point, it's generally agreed that when Studio Series started tackling the video game designs, it kinda tripped over the start line and hasn't fully recovered since. While Gamer Edition Optimus Prime is held in somewhat high regard, Gamer Edition Megatron? Oof. This Voyager class figure represents the Tyrant from High Moon Studios' War for Cybertron video game. Like Prime before him, this Megatron had a deluxe class toy in 2010's Generations line. TF Wiki refers to the Deluxe's alt mode as a self-propelled gun, while the Voyager's is dubbed a tank. And I'll say, at least one thing this has over the Generations Deluxe for me is the deco. Instead of a light stone cold grey, which doesn't look bad itself, we now have multiple darker shades, including gunmetal paint on the front of the hull. Of course, this advantage is lost if you have Takara's United Megatron. There's black and red to break it up, along with some purple or dark energon highlights, like it's coursing through him. Said paint apps are sparse, which, whether it's purple for the Decepticons or red for the Autobots, is sadly a running thing with these Gamer Edition War for Cybertron toys. Also, not that I mind its absence, but some wear and tear or battle damage paint would be more game accurate. I, for the life of me, could not find a clear image of Megatron's finalized alt mode model that wasn't from the back. However, compared to both this artwork and the Generations Deluxe, not only is the cannon design different, but it's less immersed into the hull. Sadly, despite the turret-like structure, it can't rotate, which would have added some extra play, even if Megs couldn't do that in the game. Talking of play, while the thrusters themselves are well detailed, the Deluxe had the ability to switch between thrusters and regular tank treads. Not on this toy. Given the redone transformation, I can see why they didn't work in this feature here. Doesn't make it less underwhelming. What's not underwhelming is the cannon size, which along with the darker colours, those pincer-like structures, and the spikes, add an appropriate level of menace to this mode. I still have some gripes with how he looks. There's this post below the cannon that could have folded away, or the gappy back section. Megatron's first accessory is a mace that splits in two, and can store on top or underneath the front providing the mace head is positioned correctly. The second accessory is the front portion of the cannon itself, which you have to remove for The robot mode is generally recognizable as Megatron from the game. You have the somewhat narrow head sculpt with the permanent scowl and purple streaks on his face, like he's crying dark energon. The character design has the pincer structure end up on his left shoulder. On the Deluxe, it was the actual alt mode pincer. With this toy, it's a fake. The real pincer folds behind him, meaning, like Gamer Edition Prime, he lacks a molded faction logo on his back. But hey, the port allows for weapon storage. Everything else from the chest to the limbs are sculpted fairly close, though features like the red plating on the right shoulder better resembles the concept art, and the treads fall beside the lower legs which are normally clean. The cannon is more or less shaped correctly, though lacks some surface detailing no matter which art you compare it to. It also mounts on the arm via a post, except it's just one post like the concept art, instead of two posts like the finalized model. And of course we're missing a fair bit of dark purple, and what we do get isn't really enough to pop. For articulation, you have a swivel in the neck, waist, bicep, and above the knee. The shoulders hinge out and swivel vertically. The elbows are hinged with a really good bend, and utilizing the above transformation joint results in a double elbow. The hips are universal, the toes hinge up and down, while the ankles tilt back and forth, as well as side to side. And then, the knees. For some godforsaken reason, there's a nub with a groove at the back, for which a small tab behind the legs slides into when you bend the knee, like his legs are meant to be bent this way, permanently. That can't be more than 40 degrees. I have no clue why they did this, assuming they were aware to begin with. And unfortunately, from what I've heard, they did not fix this when they reused the mold for Flame. Play-wise, the Fusion Cannon is effects parts compatible. Both ways, actually. The mace has 2 posts for him to wield it, and like most Gamer Edition figures, you can swap the right arm for the cannon, or any weapon designed for this play pattern. The detached arm is supposed to store at the back of his waist. Supposed to. If not for those stupid knee tabs, I'd probably have given Gamer Edition Megatron a silver. Sure, I prefer certain design elements and play options of the Generations Deluxe, like the alternate tank modes, but with the multiple weapons and swappable right forearm, it's not like this gives you nothing to do. It's just an unremarkable toy. If you're wanting a version of this mold as Megatron specifically, hold off for the Target exclusive More Than Meets the Eye collection redeco. The colours look a little better, but fix those knees, please. We shouldn't be making our own mods, thank you.